had that same feeling, but on your trip to America, you had come through London and had had another, I guess, experience that was maybe startling to you at the time.
Yes, I actually came across a story of a little girl called Kimberly, which is how the project got its name. I picked up the paper one day. I was in London for a couple of weeks, and the trial of this little girl was on, and I started reading it. And every day I got more engrossed in the story of this little girl. And I think maybe because my little girl Danielle was 4 at the time, and this little girl was 4, and they kind of had a resemblance about them, both dark hair and little chubby kids. And I kept reading the story about how they starved her, how they burned her with cigarettes up and down her back, how the stepfather would grab her at the ears and hit her in the groin with his knee. And I just couldn't imagine how somebody could do that to a child. And then the more I kept reading, the more I kept seeing, the more I realized we needed to do something about it. And I wrote the song on the airplane, really not intending to do something about it with the song. And we were in somebody's home in Texas, and somebody asked me to play the piano, so I said, sure, I'll play the piano. I want to play you a real special song which I've never played for anybody. And I played Kimberly. And the gentleman turned out to be the vice president of the Texas Board of Child Protection. And he said, oh, can we use your song for an awareness program? And I said, sure. And that was really the birth of it. And we used the song in Texas very successfully as a fundraiser. And we started speaking in schools from there, and that's how we got going.
Before we continue our conversation and then you tell us how it developed, would you mind doing just a little of Kimberly for us? Chrissy, it would just give the viewers a sample because you're going to be performing this Kimberly project around at various places, but would you just do one verse for us here this morning? You don't mind doing that?
No.
Okay. It'll give us a feel for what you did for this.
Only love gives the patience to understand all the children and their funny ways. If we learn by our mistakes, we're one step ahead. Oh, Kimberly, you're safe now at last. And Kimberly, I'm writing this song for you, for all of the loneliness that you have been through, and for all of the others that are feeling the same as you did. You're safe now, Kimberly, in your father's arms.
Chrissy, thank you. I know early in the morning it's not easy to stand up and sing a verse of a song like that, nor is it easy for us to hear the poignance of that, but the entire project is not that way. You have written some other songs that led you from your going to schools. Get back to telling us, then you went into some schools and started to talk to children about child abuse.
Right, we found, we kind of got thrown into it because I didn't class myself as a speaker, but I really have been put into that mode now. And the first school we did, they said, we've got arranged for you to speak to 500 children, and I just about fell over. And I said, I don't know what to say. And I just started talking to them, the facts that I knew, and as a mother, and as somebody who cared, and showed them what was right, what was wrong. A lot of kids don't know what's right and what's wrong in a family home, and they don't know what they're supposed to do. And I found that that's just basics that we need to show children. And being a songwriter, I decided to put what I was telling them into music and show them that there's positive ways of teaching kids, and show parents that they don't need to be afraid to take this project on, to talk to their kids about child abuse and protect their children.
So they know what to expect or what's right or wrong.
That's right.
And you've done such a nice sampling. You also shared, I think, with the children that you had been abused child.
Yes, I was sexually abused at the age of 4 by a babysitter and never told anybody. I knew it was wrong, and I knew it was dirty, or I thought it was, you know, my fault, or that. And most kids feel that, and that's why they don't tell somebody. They think they're wrong.
And would maybe be punished if they did tell, or that
Yes,
somebody
or,
would
or
think.
the people threaten them, and they need to know that they can go to people, that they can tell, that they can do something about it.
And parents probably need to be more aware that these people can be the next door neighbor or the babysitter or people who are in their family lives that you don't think about, I guess. And yet, it's scary, Chrissy, to think that people might be afraid. It may make other adults afraid to do things with children. I mean, you know, the next door neighbor might be afraid to do something with the children because what if they suspect, or what if they think there's something wrong, or what if the children are afraid?
Well, I think if we're more open with it, as far as we can talk about it, and the kids can say, so-and-so did that to me, is that right or wrong? Rather than just pushing it all underneath
And
the
being
carpet.
afraid to
Yeah, I
do
think if we start talking about it and start showing people this is right, this is wrong, this is what you can do, people can be more confident, and they won't be so scared to ask.
And be more open.
Yeah.
You did a whole variety of songs, and some of these are together in a packet, and you've done tapes as well, which are sold. But let's talk about some of the other subject matter that you've done in these songs, because you appeal to children of all ages, not just elementary. You work with, you
Yes,
started to develop
we've got
these
a program
songs.
for middle school, high school.
And some of the, this particular one that I have in my hand is for the smaller children. And My
That's
Body
right.
is My Body. This is one for elementary school
Right.
people, and you've done this with a series of songs and then a little coloring thing that can go along so that teachers, after you go to a school, how does this sort of work then? I mean, you go into a school and do these songs, and then the children start to talk with you and maybe the teachers then.
Yes, we get a lot of kids that come up, and sometimes we get reports of child abuse, and sometimes they just want to ask things that they don't feel comfortable asking other people. And we show the teachers that by doing it in a positive way and bringing the subject up in positive forms and through the songs, that they can bring the subjects up with the children and not feel uncomfortable about talking about it.
This one little song, Love is Gentle, now, what brought you about writing this one? I mean, is this just so that children understand that when people love them, it's a fun, kind thing, not something abusive?
Well, I felt that all the programs that we keep doing are saying, don't let people touch you, don't let people do this, don't let people do that. And then I thought, we're not showing them what love is. The kids, there are so many kids that come from dysfunctional families that don't know what love is, and they need to know love is gentle and love is kind. It's okay to put your arms around somebody and love them, but and not be scared of that kind of love, but to show them that, you know, the touching in their private parts is wrong, but if somebody's just being gentle and loving you, and it
that's
feels
good.
good,
It feels
that's good, yes.
This is a neat song you did, the What If game, which I thought was cute. Talk a little bit about that song and what that one does and how you work with kids on that one.
Right, that came actually from a Department of Human Services little pamphlet that I got, and I thought that would be great for a song. And it talks about the stranger, and it talks about the babysitter touching them, and it talks about them just in their family. And it's not only with abuse, it's like somebody tickling you and you don't like them to tickle you. Just tell them no. You don't need to make a big deal of it. Just say, I don't like it. And that's basically what the song is saying. Please don't do that. I don't like it. And it shows them to say no to the stranger and no to the babysitter. But it gives them confidence
That they can.
in situations.
Do you think self-esteem is a part of this whole thing, Chrissy?
Yes,
that if
very.
children have good self-esteem, they're not afraid to say no to somebody? And
That's right.
and
They need to know their rights as children. You know, it's like if you've got a problem, who can you tell? We've got that song in there as well. Children need role models to talk to. But when you've got a little child that's scared and he's in a predicament or she's in a predicament, they don't know who to tell and they don't think of those people. So you give them role models in the songs and you discuss it with them so that if they ever do have a problem, they've got it there right on the tip of their tongue
And
to
they
go and do.
can have somebody to turn to.
Yes,
And these
so-
cute, the wonderful verses to these. So many of these are so upbeat and they're really great. So if you go into a classroom situation, and I think you like to work with smaller groups too, don't you? Like
Yes.
maybe no more than 100 children. I mean, that's
100 to 150 maximum, yes.
and then they can come up to you afterwards. And I understand music is a great motivator for children to really get involved and want to talk about things.
It is, and it's a great way for them to learn as well. Children learn songs. So what better way of reinforcing things them by teaching them a song that they can go and sing around, you know, like My Body Is My Body.
And speaking of My Body Is My Body, as we go into this break, Chrissy, I'd like for you to do a little of that. It's such a cute song, and you'll be back with us a little later to talk about music again and the involvement with children. But as we go into this break, if you'll just do one little part of that, it's such a cute little jazzy song.
Okay.
They're not all as touching as Kimberly, which is a beautiful song, but My Body Is My Body. Let's hear a little bit of that,
Thanks.
and then we'll take a
Okay.
break.
All right. It's my body, and nobody has a right to touch me, 'cause my body is my body for me. It's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me. I've got 2 hands to feel, and 2 eyes to see, and 2 ears to hear what you're telling me. I've got 2 strong legs to take me where I go, but I've also got some private parts that I don't want to show. It's my body, and nobody has a right to hurt me, 'cause my body is my body for me.
Chrissy is a singer-songwriter who has created and has brought with her to Nashville this wonderful project called the Kimberly Project. It's an opportunity for us to deal with our children and parents in many places, schools and shopping centers, all sorts of places, communication about our rights and children's rights and what we can do about child abuse. And some of the ladies who are promoting that all over this community are with us this segment. Sheila Ann Cunningham, who's Executive Director of the Coalition on Child Abuse and Neglect, and Tammy Hawks. Tammy, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
That's correct.
Hawk, it's not an S, who's a member of the Board of Directors of Coalition. So, again, 2 more professional women who are working hard to help get the message out, I think, that we're talking about this morning. And you've got a great project here to work with, Sheila. I know you're excited about it. You were when you called me and invited me actually to come to a breakfast, which started my whole interest in this. And
Right, we're real concerned that we can make the public more aware, because the more the public is aware, the more they can get involved in helping prevent child abuse, and that's our main focus, is preventing child abuse. And this project is so great and very unique in its style because it does have a musical approach. It's a soft touch approach to the subject that makes people more comfortable with it, so that it helps as far as awareness, but it's also very educational, and thus in turn it's prevention. And the bottom line is to help the kids.
Right.
And that's what we're all about.
so this is available. And Tammy, I'll bet teachers, I know not a lot of schools yet have had the opportunity in Davidson County, but I understand you all are targeting, your coalition wants to get it in all the schools before the end of this year. Is that right?
That's what we would hope to do. It has been approved by the Metro School Board, and the state school department, and all the principals would love to have it in their schools. So that's what we are targeting, to get into all the elementary schools.
What about then the junior high level? I know you're not taking that on right now, but if there is a particular call, or if there's a school in an area that feels they need that, would you help get something set up?
Yes, we've already been into some schools. It's just that as far as having something on tape that we can leave with the school systems, we don't have that yet.
For the
We
junior.
are, again, hoping that we can get money that will help support that, so that we can develop the tape. The songs are written, the presentations are there, and like I said, she does that. She does presentations to the high schools, to the junior highs, to the middle schools, to the general public, and to parents. So the target audiences are there, and the program is there. It's just, again, getting funds like anything else
Oh, sure.
to back up the programs.
We're talking about some very positive things that can be done in our community to help allay some of the ignorance, I guess, that we all have about our children and the abuse that has occurred and is occurring all the time. And with me this segment is, Chrissy is back with me, creator of the Kimberly Project, and Carl Idson, who is music therapist, and you're a consultant to the Kimberly Project, right, Carl?
That's right. When they first called and told me about a project that involved child abuse prevention and music, I was very excited, because this is such a delicate and sensitive subject, and it's very difficult to just talk about in a traditional type of intervention. But when you pair music with a subject like this, it makes it suddenly easier to talk about and easier to communicate.
Now, you, in your full lifetime profession, you actually work at Cumberland Hall and which is a treatment center here. And do you work with music therapy there with those people who are recovering from various problems?
That's right. I work with individuals that have varying disabilities, children and adolescents, and not only at my facility but nationwide, music therapy is a field that involves treating individuals with music, whether it be live performance, whether it be listening, whether it be looking into developing self-expression skills with music.
Chrissy, you must have been helping yourself, actually therapy, when you were writing about the Kimberly song on the plane.
Oh, yes.
That was therapy for you because you're a creative person and you were obviously very upset about what you had just heard and experienced when you were there. So that was your therapy. Would that be how you would define that?
That's right, and we even use songwriting activities with children in a self-expression mode in therapy, even though they're not going to write any songs that are as creative and as wonderful as those that Chrissy has written. It's still a cathartic experience to put your thoughts down on paper and then to express them in song.
Do you consider that when you were writing songs, though, just had you thought about it being a therapy thing when you were writing back at home?
I really didn't even know there was music therapy till I got into this.
So then that you just came into it through the back door, but then you realized that it truly is a way and a very good approach.
And I think if you look at most songs that are written by songwriters, it's their therapy of getting emotions out.
And you've done participatory songs too, like a rap song. That's one of the things that you did for us at breakfast. I mean, the government people there really got into that.
Well, kids like rap, and the whole thing is that the music is geared to whatever age group they are, and you know, you can't go around singing baby songs to 6th grade, so you need to sing the rap and pop songs to them, but it's got to be simple enough so that the message goes over. You can't have sort of like 20,000 lyrics that aren't going to mean anything. And the other thing I think the music does is music brings out emotion in people. You know, you can tell somebody something. I could tell you the story of Kimberly, or I could sing to you the story of Kimberly, and the song would get to you a lot more than just the story. And I think that's what gets to the kids and the grown-ups is the message through the music. I think music, I mean, I'm biased because I love music, but it is a powerful medium to talk to people.
No, and through all history, as much as we've been able to write anything, the poets and everybody have talked about the meaning of music and Shakespeare and so many, so it's obvious. And it's not just with children then either. I'm sure adults respond, Carl, in things that you do. I mean, obviously in relating to this, adults are going to listen, and as you, Chrissy, are going to be in the malls all through April. I mean, I cannot believe the number of performances you have scheduled. I hope this show has been helpful to you. I hope you've learned something that you maybe could plug in your own life with your own groups or your family or your church, where you can make a difference in this major problem in our country and our community. I'm Maydeen Eberling, and I'll see you next week on Mornings on 5.